Right then, Gary, we're going back to old school, like Tenchfishers, analogue.
Yeah.
I normally type these out, but anyway, I've typed out, I've written these out for you. Obviously, as one of our supporters and sponsors of the group, wanted to sit down, and you're the second one to do the Let's Talk, so I'm going to get straight into it. Okay, if we start at the very beginning, can you tell me about how old you were when you first went fishing and got the angling bug? And can you tell us about your early angling experiences?
Right, first time I went fishing, I lived at Wilmot Road in Dartford. That's where I was born. And I moved to Hawley when I was 5. And apparently there's a story, I do remember this. I had a friend called Chris Champion, lived around the corner. And I had a tricycle and he had fishing nets.
Right.
I mean, the River Cray was just down the road. Well, it was about a quarter of a mile down the road. And I don't know how I knew how to get there, but the plan was to get these little nets with bamboos on it and go down the River Cray. And that's where we were. We went to down the River Cray. We were missing. Apparently Mum and Dad were going mad. Our parents were running around wondering where we were. And I've got this vivid imagination of trying to catch fish out the River Cray with this net, and a goldfish went past. That stays in there, and I can't remember whether I actually caught it or just saw it.
Yeah.
So that was my first.
All right, that was your first forays. Yeah. So, who would you say was your biggest angling influence when you think back to those days?
I would think it's got to be my dad, because he was one that took me and my brother fishing. So in the early days, that's what really kicked me off.
Yeah, you were lucky to have, like you say.
Yeah, well, when we moved to Hawley, we was right on in the River Darrant Valley, and that's where I fished till I was 12. I didn't fish a Stillwater till then, and that's my dad taught me how to.
Taught you the basics, like you say. Oh, brilliant! Like you say, lucky with that as well. Tell us what you remember about the capture of your first tench, and where was it from?
That's easy as well. Now, having fished the river, apparently no tench in it, but long story, when it dried up we found little baby tench in there.
Yeah.
Another story. But so there weren't any tench in the river to catch as such, so there was a leisure sport Darrant. So when I was 16 I joined it with my dad. I'd caught chub in the river, and that was my first specialist species.
Yeah.
And I, previous to, you look at all your angling times, etc., and the tench, that was one of my first target fish. The chub was in the river, so it weren't if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
I wish I could catch one of those things.
Yeah.
So I never caught a tench, and on June the 16th, I was 16 years old.
Well, you're going to be giving it away.
Yeah, I'm not going to be. Head arithmetic's not good.
Yeah.
At 16, fished a tree lake, and honestly, we were allowed to keep nets then. I got pictures of these full up, and I think 20 to 30 tench I caught in that night and day. I was up all night, I didn't sleep. And I had a lurk pole, those that are really old, with no lurk, a green lurk. I just got it. And the bite, because I normally rod, and the lurk pole, first time I used it, and that was in the edge, and I think I caught most of the tench on that pole.
Yeah.
And the bite indication was it running into the lake.
Yeah, that's a run. Yeah, literally, or a different type of run.
So that started my quest for tench, and that was so I was 16. I focused on tench and pike in the winter. Still done a bit of chub fishing, and when we got I caught a few carp along the way, like you do with tench fishing. Got the shop, and people kept on coming in, and carp. So then I turned my hand to carp because that was what the customers, and so I enjoy my carp fishing as well.
Yeah, got you. So off those captures, like you say, baptism of fire, like you say, not just going and catching one, say about 30.
Mad. It was absolutely mad.
Did that have a profound impact you and turn you into a specimen hunter, or did that developed over time? But you've kind of answered that, because obviously you've sort of.
I think the specialist idea of it, because I was catching minnows, gudgeons, etc. in the river, and and saw these big. Well, I didn't know what they were, to be honest. I think dace was nice as well.
Yeah.
And it was then I was having to change my tactics, so I was becoming a specialist
Yep.
without knowing it.
Yeah. Yeah, just a gradual
Yeah.
sort of
And
development.
catch the bigger chub at the time. We used minnows.
Yeah.
So that it didn't catch the 1-2 pounders. We were catching like 3-4 pounders by using minnow.
Yeah.
Again, you're specialised. You're trying to filter out the small ones.
Yeah, it's definitely.
So I was doing that without realising what I was doing.
Yeah, brilliant. And going back then, or I should say, which tench waters, and I guess these would be carp waters as well, had an influence on you, and what size of tench and maybe carp would have expected to have caught then, when you first started angling for the species? So I suppose that goes for carp and tench, really.
Yeah. So the tree lake is. I got addicted to the tree lake for many years. So 16, 24. So I would say good 5 years. I near enough only fished the tree lake. The other lakes, the big lake, Tip Lake. I did. We did have a go at the Tip Lake, me and my brother, for tench. Kept on catching pesky carp, so went back to Tree Lake.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the most famous waters back in the day.
Yeah.
There, down it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, the Darren's Tip Lake. Just, I guess, moving on a little bit. Can you tell us when you joined the Tenchfishers and what prompted you to join or be associated with us?
Have I joined the Tenchfishers? We started sponsoring with Peter Harding.
Yes.
Came in.
Yeah.
Telling me I've got to give the Tenchfishers raffle prizes.
He's a persuasive chap, wasn't he?
Well, he won't tell me. He just asked me what I was going to give him, not whether I wanted to.
Yeah, he got a certain
He's
style.
proper character. Love him. But so I become associated with the Tenchfishers, and of course I called myself a tench angler for many years before the sort of shop thing, and so that supporting the tench fishers was something that I felt was the right thing to do, really.
Yeah.
It's keeping you guys together. We've got to support single species clubs. We do the same for the perch fishers as well, similar thing for the perch fishers. That's what got me involved, but I got more passionate with what we're doing today by stocking. So the money that's being generated, it's all right giving you raffle prizes for the lads, keeping the interest there, but this I've got a bit of passion for because it's really putting back into fishing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a special long-term project.
Yeah.
So, and it's, and like you say, it's ongoing. I think all of us that are involved with it, it's, I don't know, you just suddenly, these opportunities present themselves and you just think, well, wow, it's a privilege to be involved, so I get that. And I know you're also involved with fishing for schools as well, so right at the grassroots roots, I know you're supporting people, or you're supporting fishing. If you had to pick one angler who you have fished with, who would you say you have most enjoyed fishing with and why?
I'm very much a loner.
Okay.
So my specialist fishing is walking up and down the river with me and the dog. Carp fishing I feel is like a lone thing. Pike fishing is a social thing because of it's handy to have an associate with you to deal with a large pike.
Yeah.
And self photography with a pike can be a little bit awkward, can't it? They've got to get back in quick. So fishing with Lee Jackson. Yeah. We fished together on competitions mainly. That was enjoyable. What we've done today is like it's getting to know different people. But as for picking out any particular person, I suppose it would be Lee.
Okay.
Over the period of time that we fished together, fished with competitions, etc. But I'm pretty much a loner when I go fishing.
I think, like you say, it can be all things to everybody with angling per se. But I get that that sometimes social events like this are great, but there are times you just think it's just that solitude, that time to clear your mind. And I mean, I know for a fact that some of the work that we're doing with coaching, that it's that solitude, that time to clear your mind. It's just cutting through and helping a lot of people. So I think as anglers, we've just been so lucky over the years that we've been ahead of the curve. That even like the medical profession now is getting to that point where they're saying this is really good for you. It's good for your mental health.
I think definitely. I think if I don't go fishing, you start getting a little bit agitated, etc. It's when I go fishing, I think about the week before what I've done, that's what I do naturally. But when they started talking about mental health, I thought, hang on a minute, you think, I ain't got a mental problem, but you think, well, actually, I'm dealing with that mental health by going fishing. Yeah,
it is. It's a good time to almost like either de-stress, offload.
And plan for the future. Sit there and plan.
Recharge. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
But fishing, I suppose Lee would be the most. I could go fishing again tomorrow, and with Lee, I'll go with Lee.
Yeah.
He's a little bit a bit like me as well. So we can get on, fish on the same lake rather than rather than being actually together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is like you say. It is nice to have that solitude. But like you say, it is nice when you do catch up. Like I think you enjoy it even more than when you do have those social catch-ups. All right, brilliant. If you had to pick one water that you could fish for the rest of your days, where would it be? If there was only one water that you could sort of fish for the rest of your days.
Right, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
I've got a lake in mind, but I'm a river angler.
Yeah.
So can I choose?
Of course you can. You can. Yeah. It's pick one water. So yeah, rivers of water.
So I would say that the most enjoyable lake I've ever fished is I know it as Lake 3 at Larkfield, but you guys know it as Abbey Meads.
Right.
That is the most enjoyable lake I've ever fished. And the river, I fished 12 years on the River Daffern. It's one of the 200 odd chalk streams in the world. So I would always go back fishing for the chub. They're not massive in there, but that's enjoyment.
Yeah.
I don't go fishing for catching. That's not my aim. Is to catch a personal best or whatever. I've got to enjoy the fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get that. It's almost like going back to your roots, your home water.
It is.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Look, we go back to the child thing. It's like
you're
back home. You're back home.
I get the same feeling when I fish my local canal, because I grew up fishing our local Coventry canal, and it's even after I've been here, I'm thinking, well, when can I go and have an evening there? I always have to go back there again, get back to your roots. I know what you're saying. You kind of probably almost nearly answered the next question, but anyway, as a multi-species angler, can you tell us what your other favourite species are and kind of the favourite venue?
Yeah, I suppose my favourite species has got to be pike, tench, chub, carp. I've learnt to fish. It's the way where I go to fish for carp is important. It's got to be low stocks. It's the unknown. I love fishing for the unknown. So I can't fish a place where they know all the names and Fred's this way. It's and we all go fishing. Everyone goes fishing for different reasons. So and I go fishing. My buzz is the unknown. So when that bobbin goes, the float goes under. I don't know what the top or bottom.
I'll get that.
And again, I think that's go back to when I first fished Dartford Lakes. When that bobbin went up, I didn't know I was going to get a tench, a bream, hook up one of those elusive carp you can't catch, those ones. So yeah, it's the anticipation of the unknown is that gets me. That's me.
Yeah. I know quite a few anglers that are probably, I guess that we're north of 50, and they're doing exactly the same thing. Fishing on pits that that they're not sure what's in there. So you've got that element of mystery.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But other people go fishing for all different reasons, to try and achieve their personal best, to catch certain fish in a certain lake, and you shouldn't knock what the thing is. You say, "Oh, he does it." No, just enjoy fishing the way you want to enjoy fishing.
Yeah, exactly. Doing it on your own terms, definitely.
Yeah. Like accusing someone of putting tomato sauce on their Sunday lunch. That's how they want to do it.
Yeah, if it works for you, then fine. Yeah. Crack on. Okay. As the co-owner of the Tackle Box, can you tell us a bit about the history of the business and what was the first year you opened, or when did you open the shop?
We opened in 1983. My brother and I, we used to fish. We was in Hawley, and you had Dartford, which was like I think 3 miles one way, where the tackle shop was. Then you had to come back 3 miles, or even another 2-3 miles the other way to Alton Kirby. So it was this go. And as children, we were like, oh, if only we just had like we've got corner shops. Why don't they sell hooks and floats? You know, I only want hooks. I got over this journey backwards and forwards. So it's always been in your mind. And I was driving through Sutton Home one day, and a little shop for lease. And I spoke to my brother, and I said, well, it's like, you know, we could do with, you know, the area could do with someone selling maggots, hooks and floats. And it got a little bit out of control.
It grew.
Yeah, it was the demand. We never aimed to be where we are, or you aimed to please the customers' requests, and that just, oh, you got to get this in, you got to get that in, and the carp side of it. I mean, there was very few carp anglers back in 1983, 84, and there was very few areas like Dartford Angling was a match shop. It was so at the time that was the specialist fish. Yeah, they were specialist fish. So we specialised in these guys, and there was match anglers. They were a little bit stressy because they had to go fishing, whereas carp anglers and specialists, general specialist anglers, we don't have to go, do we?
No.
We go, tell you what, don't want to go. But a match angler has to go. He's letting the team down, so he's under pressure to go fishing. So I think there's two different psyches, and the carp angler and the specialist angler was more like-minded.
Yeah.
And that's what we got on with. So they were going, get this in, get that in, and so we got all new stuff in, and so that's how that went on. Yeah, so
I guess, like in the first instance, you were just filling, like say, meeting your own or filling your own necessity, and then other people were sort of seeing that and right place, right time.
Yeah.
You know, sort of, and I guess when you go back to '83. I think I only knew one other carp angler on our lakes, and he was a bit of an oddity, and he used to turn up on a moped, and you were just, he stays for days. So, and if you talk to people, at the advent of carp fishing, people were making their own gear, and they're having to invent the gear. Anybody who
we were doing hangers, we were doing swingers was a part of the thing there, and it wasn't just us. We were the project managers of all of these brilliant guys coming in. There were engineers, there were chemists, there were doctors, and they were coming in with their ideas. And we might be known for, the tackle box done that. No, it was, we were just the catalysts.
Yeah.
For these things.
Yeah.
And the not sort of got mistake. Was a serendipity, discovery by mistake, that one.
Right.
Yeah. And that happened in our shop.
That was Lenny Middleton then, was it? Or
No.
Oh, come on. We've got an exclusive.
You might want to cut this one out. But
Okay.
at Sutton Home, this will take a couple of minutes. At Sutton Home, well-known CMEX, well at the time Leisure Sport, Sutton Home was known as a very hard water. So the guys went on there and a local competition grew. So the ones that were catching that season, they got known as the Sutton Elite.
Right.
And the ones that hadn't caught were the Sutton Sufferers. Right. So there was this camaraderie between everyone, all having it's all banter. Anyway, there was me and my brother remember it differently, but someone, I think it was a fly angler that done this Sutton Elite knot. Right, so if you'd done this Sutton Elite knot with the hair and the hook link was all in one, but it was a different knot to as we know it now.
Yeah.
And you had to pull both to tighten them up. So you couldn't have the hair exactly what you want. You had to get the hair slightly shorter than you really wanted it, because by the time you tightened it, it went to the same length. So we started selling it, showing customers, you've seen this Sutton Elite knot. It was called the Sutton Elite knot because the guy that was involved with it, Sutton anyway. So Sutton Elite knot. Show us how to do the Sutton Elite knot. Yeah, that's how you do it, mate. There you go. That's how you do it. brilliant. Off they gone. Anyway, I'm tying the knot one day. Jacko's out the back making tea. And the bloke's asked me to do the Sutton Elite knot. I said, here you go, mate. That's how you do it. That's how you do it like that. And then you pull the two together. And that's it, job done. There's a guy looking over his shoulders gone, that's not a Sutton Elite knot. I learnt a lesson because I'm going like, cool, don't tell me how to tie the Sutton Elite knot, mate. You know, I'll give it all that. And so anyway, go on in. I said, show us the Sutton Elite knot. And for the first time, this guy's tied, I've seen tied, what we now know as a knotless knot.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I don't know if, probably people that have always had the knotless knot, but when it's being tied and you go like that, you go, well, that can't work because it's not a knot.
Mm.
And that's not a knot. And we go, that'll come undone. I'm thinking, well, for it to come undone, the hook link's got to go through, there's the swivel's got to go through, the lead's got to go through, the rod's got, and the reel's got to go through the ID hook. Well, it ain't going to come undone.
Right.
And I've gone, Jacko, come and have a look at this. No, that won't work. Yeah, I've gone through that. So I said, yeah, so, and I asked the guy, I remember it as I asked the guy, I said, who showed you this Sutton Elite knot? He said, someone down the Medway River. So it's like Chinese whispers.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the actions are very similar, but completely different. So it's, yeah, it was like, so Sutton Elite. So the knotless knot. Oh, then another time, Shimano done this holiday thing for the top 30 dealers in the country.
Yeah.
We went to Cyprus, and Matt Hayes was like the head figure at the time, and we went fishing with him, carp fishing, and then we laid a little bit of channel cats we done. But we went carp fishing, and sitting there fishing, talking, chatting like you do, and I said to him, I think it might have been within the first year of us showing this knotless knot. I said, oh, you seen this knotless knot? I said, it's gone like that. There you go. He said, and old Mac says to me, that's a snood. Oh, right, okay. It's a knot that's already about. So
Yeah.
anyway, young Matt's, next thing I know, Angling Times, how to tie the knotless knot. But he didn't say he invented it or anything.
No.
But what Matt done, then made it
Popular.
yeah, mainstream, and everyone was reading. I mean, what was it,
Yeah.
70,000 copies, was it? They used to
Easily,
do Angling Times, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's launched the knotless knot.
Yeah, yeah.
So everyone that say it, it's like Danny Fairbrass has gone, I'd like to thank the person that invented the knotless knot. We don't know who invented it.
No.
It's this strange figure on the
There was a
Medway
bit of
that
plagiarism that went along the way, yeah, absolutely. Okay, going on again, getting back, I suppose, back to tench fishing.
You might have to cut that out, it was a bit long.
Yeah. It says, okay then, so how, in your opinion, has specimen tench fishing evolved over the years that you've been fishing for them?
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, you're talking luncheon meat, flake, worm, the advent of knotless knot.
Yeah.
But the carp, I think the carp anglers, you've got to be mindful that a lot of the rigs that we use today has evolved from
They were born
carp
there,
side. Yeah, they were from the carp side. So knowledge on fish behaviours has improved as well. Jim Gibbonson with his modern day specimen wind, and which
Yeah.
has gone hand in hand with specialist fishing generally. So from when I started fishing for them, it's come on leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
But they're still cleverer than us.
Yeah. Still elusive.
Well, especially me and John.
Me this weekend. Okay, so what would be your ideal water and actual method of fishing for tench? So how would you like to fish? What is your favourite way of fishing for them?
Right, I am a session angler. I haven't got the time I'm going to do days. So the situation I'm in, I do days on a Sunday with chub fishing, but generally I go down for 2 nights. And I'm a bit older now. I'm not as mobile and get up and move to the other side of the lake. So for me, again, I go back to Lake 3 to fish for the tench, Abbey Meads, if they'd let me.
Yeah.
Right, Pete?
Yeah.
Favourite method? I love the float. Have I got the patience for it now? It's again, I treat my fishing, catch at all costs is not a bit of me. Go down and enjoy the day. So it would be ledgering. You guys, a lot of you guys use feeders. I use a PVA bag. I prefer that sort of method, which is basically a feeder really as well.
Yeah.
Running leads, I love running leads.
Yeah.
Because I feel that the old tench are a little trickier than Mr. Carp. He is. So a running lead it gives you an indication if they're being picked up. The fixed lead, they pick it up. You've got no indication at this end.
Yeah, true.
So with a running lead, you do get that indication that something's been down there. You might need to top up the bait.
Yeah.
Because you know they come in and they're wizards at eradicating all your free bait and leaving your hook bait, aren't they? So that running lead would be essential. And slack lines.
Yeah.
I'd use slack lines.
Okay.
Unless you're using a choddy type thing, that's a different approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be me. I'll be sitting down there for a session. Because if you're float fishing, you're missing all the birds, you're missing all the insects, you're missing nature.
Yeah, I must admit, I've seen the barn owl this morning, and there's loads of, like you say, you can miss it when you're constant with that monomaniacal focus on a float. I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, so could you tell us about the capture of your personal best tench, or a capture that holds a special place in your memory?
Yeah, so I started at 16 tench fishing, first capture of a tench, and enjoyed fishing for them. And yeah, you do like catching the bigger ones, etc. But it isn't my be all and end all.
Yeah.
Got the shop, started carp fishing. With all I was down Darren, there was loads of carp anglers, and I stopped enjoying my fishing because it was, what can you do this for? What can you do that for? And I wasn't chilling out.
No.
So I discovered I like carp fishing, lakes. I'd find lakes that said I've got no carp in there, and that's where I'd fish for them. I'd fish the River Medway. So I want to be on my own. Yeah, fishing. And Lake 3 in 1985, might have been 84, the local PAC done a fishing on Lake 3. And went down there to Lake 3. I got in the swim that's known as the pads. I put my gear down, I looked up, and there was a carp.
Okay.
And this is November. And that stayed in my mind. And apparently it's never been stocked, there's never been any carp put into Lake 3. So then I did fish Barden Country Park. Then later on I wanted to find somewhere else that apparently got no carp in it. I thought, Lake 3, I know there's carp in there because I saw one. So that's why I started fishing Lake 3 for carp. But I knew the tench were in there, so I always put a rod. Not all rods would go out for carp.
Hedging your bets.
Yeah. So I started catching a few tench down there. It was known for some sensible sized fish, tench to about £8. And 1 year they went down to really small. I was catching these really prune black. Then I thought, oh, it's looking wrong. But 2 years later, I'm fishing the pads again. Got 2 rods out on the far bank. One's for tench, one's for carp. And I've got the bite in the middle of the night on one. I'm playing that, and then the other one's gone. So I've hit that. I'm winding this one and got that one in. Wound it as I played that one and got that one in. 10-10, 10-11. Having not caught a double at all.
Yeah.
I got not caught 2 doubles in a session. 2 doubles in my net. I mean, pinching myself and
like buses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the other one later on, about a year or 2 after that, I was fishing the same swim again, and a little bit of a story. There was a carp angler there. I said, "There's no small carp in there." I made him a cup of tea, and I looked up and I saw this small carp stick its head out. It looked like a low double, and I thought I can't say to this guy Gareth to say, did you, you know, I've just seen the carp, because he won't believe me.
Yeah.
But it was grinding at me. I said, Gareth, did you see that carp? He said, yes, I did. He said, I didn't want to say nothing. I didn't say. So anyway, he's gone home. I've stuck the barbecue on. And I'm having a little bit of food, and I've got a bite. Right? I've played this really aggressive fish. It's dark. I've landed it. It's mid-late April. I've landed it. It's fallen on its side. I didn't have my head torch. It was in the back. It's laid on its side, and I've gone, because it's carp shape.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I've caught that little carp I saw. So I'd even unhooked the fish, like the salt out of the barbecue was burning, and it was like
Nowhere torch.
Yeah, Mediterranean vegetables were being caramelised.
Incinerated.
So I sorted all that out. So the fish is in there, I don't know, at some time. And so I've done the washing up. Right, I'll sort that fish out because I want a photograph of it. Because that's the good thing about fishing somewhere there's no... When you're fishing for carp and they say they've got no carp in there, you catch a 5-pounder and you're over the moon. It's really like, wow. So anyway, went down, got the headlamp this time, lifted it up. It's a tench.
Yeah.
No, like, you know, got it up 12-12.
What a fish.
Even today, I just had a little tingle go down my back.
Yeah, the nicest of surprises.
Mate.
Yeah.
And I had to get, not Rob, Andy. I found Andy. He's a bit of kindred spirit like me, specialist angler that does like his carp fishing. And I phoned him up. I said, look, mate, I've just caught a 12-12. I said, I can't believe it. I really want another set of scales to double check it.
Yeah.
He popped down and it was 12.9. It lost 3 or 4 ounces between, like, no, I checked mine, it had gone, you know. But yeah, that was...
What a fish.
And that's still... I look at the picture and it's like, oh.
What year was that, would you reckon?
No, you're getting me now.
Yeah. No worries if you can't remember, but...
2007. It was after 2007.
Yeah, so it's like you say, I'm going to say later, you know, like you say.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, and the next year, I carried on next year. I've got it all in my diary, but I mean, I don't know if I have 10 doubles that the next year. And that's when the tench anglers started coming along and Tenchfishers started knowing about it, etc. So yeah.
Yeah. So
it was
like, you say, you were there at the beginning.
I was like, pinch yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you still
What,
pinch
another
yourself
double?
again.
No. Can't believe it. Chuffed, yeah. That was my best experience within carp fishing, and from someone that says I'm not interested in big fish.
Yeah, well there you go.
It was still the unknown. It was still the unknown.
Yeah. Fantastic times. Okay, going on. What, in your opinion, has been the most revolutionary improvement in tackle development over the years? And I'm sort of talking about broad brush, everything. And you're a man that sells this stuff as well.
Yeah, the spommer's got to be a big plus.
I wouldn't disagree with that, yeah.
Got to be a big plus. In fact, Brian come into the shop before he was a customer, and he came in and can I have a word with you? He's gone,
under the counter.
what do you reckon on that? Because they're all patent and all that was going on. And I'm going to be honest, I looked at it and thought, looks like something out of a cartoon, like, you know, that's what I'm thinking. But then Brian explained how much money he'd already spent on it to get to that point. I go, oh mate, you know. So I thought he'd made a mistake, and how wrong was I?
No.
So the spom. What else has come along? I mean, there's a load of tech getting involved with fishing, which people like, but it hasn't improved the fishing, is it?
No. I'd say with the spom, I mean, I know the first time I saw that, and you know when you see something, I know for myself personally, I always think I've got a use for that, or that's a good bit of kit. And I've got a good friend of mine, Dale, who you know, very very good friend of mine, and he fishes, and we used to work together. So we always used to be, not arguing, but debating various different things, you know, all day at work, talking about fishing. I remember when the Spom came out, and I don't think he was too enamoured with it, and I said, I think they're really good. I think, you know, they'll take over from the Spod. So yeah, it's funny, you know, it's funny how we've got the same
I think
thoughts on that.
a lot of people had problems with the Spom because we'd all perfected, because I was slightly disappointed because I perfected the right mixture of spod mix to go in so it falls out and all that. So we learnt to cast a spod, stop it, because if it dived, it compressed and it wouldn't fall out. We'd learnt to stop it and land on its side, so it all go, and that would empty. But you do that with a Spom, and it invariably doesn't open. It's got to land on its nose. So you had to change your technique on being able to do it. You get people, it's rubbish, that Spom. No, you've got to land on its nose.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, moving on again. If you had to choose just one bait to catch a tench, what would be the top of your list?
A bait for a tench fisherman is, I think it's more important for a tench angler and a carp fisherman to have all the varied baits with the situation being presented.
Yeah. Which kind of answers that, really.
Yeah, no, you've got to, there ain't a best bait for tench, is there? Oh, I'm thinking all the situations you can use them in. So, see, like maggot here would be good, but I mean, you took it to another venue and you'd get wiped out by the roach and bream. So you then got to look for something else. Worm. I'm dilemmaed with worm, but if you've got a lot of predators in there, and I'm talking meat maybe, which is something not at the top of my list normally, but for only using it. No, worm, because I enjoy catching perch anyways as well, so I'll catch a few perch along the way.
Yep. Yeah, that's been the story of my weekend.
Yeah, you enjoy perch, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I've had a £2 this weekend, so yeah, it's save the blank. Okay, so if you could choose one era, what era would you prefer to fish in? Would it be today, or would you like to go back?
With the knowledge I know now?
Yeah, go on then.
I'll go back to Daffern and catch them chub. My dad always said, look, what you've got to do, the smaller the hook, the lighter the line, the more bites you get. And I lost a lot of fish because of that. And I had a set of scales, and I weighed a chub when I was 12 out the Daffern, and it weighed 7.5 pounds. I know it didn't weigh 7.5 pounds because I didn't know how to weigh things properly, but that's what the spring balance said.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was weighing it in. I can't be so there was sense where there was fives without a doubt in there then. Yeah. It dried up in 76 and it never has returned back to what it was, due to us human beings, I'm afraid.
Yes, unfortunately, yeah. More and more of us.
So I'd like to go back to pre-76 and catch them chub.
Yeah, armed with the knowledge that you've got.
Yeah.
You're slaying it. Yeah. I mean, okay, so what angling book would you recommend to any aspiring tench or specimen angler?
Right. Got a problem there.
Go on then. I know what you're going to say.
I've got slight dyslexia.
Yeah.
And it hurts me head to read.
Yeah.
Give me a spreadsheet any time of the day.
Okay.
I don't even collect or read angling books.
Yeah.
I only read what I have to.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think you've already touched on it earlier on because you mentioned that, you know, he's kind of a god to a lot of us really, like Jim Gibbons.
Let's face it. And modern day specimen fishing.
That's the one.
Yeah, without doubt. That's as I said, it changed fishing. I said that earlier. So
yeah, it's in there. I'd recommend it. And I've heard people like Di say the same thing. And so many people, when they said if you had to read one book about specimen fishing, like gravel pit fishing or whatever, that's it. Like you say, I think it's Gravel Pit Carp actually by Jim Gibbonson, but it explains everything in so much detail. Yeah. That's been an inspiration. Okay. Would you say the advent of the internet and social media has been a positive influence on angling?
As in society generally, there's pros and cons. There's in the early days of social media, Jacko come back in from the shop once, and after fishing, and he's going, he said, this social media, I think it was Facebook, this Facebook's dreadful, it's no good, it's all wrong. I said, what's happened? He said, I'm playing this carp, and my phone's gone. I was going, get in a minute. Got it in the net. I see it pull forward, my mate. So I thought, better answer it. What, Paul? How big's that carp you got? He said, he's in a different part of the country. Someone put on Facebook, Jacko's hooked one. So, so Paul said, I wonder how big that is. No, it's just a little story on social media. It has helped. It's probably made the secret anglers even more secret.
Yeah, I could agree with that, yeah.
Because you get the guys, you say secret, you got a lot of people put a lot of effort into fishing. A lot of effort, a lot of travelling backwards, forwards, sorting things out. And they get something going. It might have taken them 6 months to sort something out. And social media
can blow it all
kills
apart.
it for them. And he's got all that effort and it turns up and can't get any swim or whatever. So it can be good in learning how to tie rigs, teaching you how to catch fish. But on the other side of it, it can be. So it's good and bad.
Yeah,
both.
like you say. But getting the balance with it, I suppose. What piece of angling advice has stood you in good stead over the years, and that you would offer to other anglers, say other aspiring anglers or anglers starting out?
Right, well, a lot of advice that I've got is from the customers that come into the shop. You learn a lot from them, etc. But I can't think of any. There's so many. One, being confident in what you're doing. I think a lot of people would be, is that am I using the right bait? Am I putting it in the right spot? Is my hook link too short, too long? And they're not confident in what they're doing. You've got to find a way of being confident in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that will catch a fish. You'll leave your rigs out there, you're quite happy. Or find a way of making yourself confident. Before this wrapping business come on, I had a problem where I marking my line, cast to a spot, I caught a tench, it went in the weed, I got it back, I thought that's no problem, I've got a mark on my line, I cast back on and I was just hitting weed. It was an area of like a 2 bivvy size, this hole in the weed. It was a hump, that was actually lake 3. And I cast out and I was just I sorted it out in the morning. So I sorted it out in the morning, I come back, I put a marker float on that rod, chucked it out, and I went out in the boat to see where it was. And it was like about a rod, it was about 90 yards I was fishing, and it was about a rod length into the weed. Right. And I thought, I wonder what's done that, why is that doing that, because I marked it up right. It was relatively new nylon line, and I checked the marker hadn't moved, and it couldn't done. I used, at the time I was using electrical tape.
Yeah.
And I used the wide side of it. I trimmed it up to a triangle so it didn't catch on the line. And it can't move, it just can't move. And I assumed that, I come to the opinion, that the tench that got in the weed, I put so much stretch on the nylon stretched and stay stretched, so now that line, I'm now 92 yards, 93 yards instead of 90 yards on that mark. So I sat there thinking, what am I going to do? How can I sort this out? How can I sort this? It's going to change the distance if I do. So I thought, count the wines on my handle. So I've done that. And that day, I checked that it all worked. So I'm now confident of where I'm going to put once I count the wines,
Yeah.
now I know how to get to that spot very precisely because I've gone out in the boat and I'm confident. So that now confidence,
Yeah.
it does that. And I thought I invented this idea, by the way. I thought, oh, I'm brilliant. Got in the shop, started telling people, as a specialist anglers, and they'd not heard of it before. Then one bloke's gone, match anglers have been doing that for ages. But
You've just stole what I was actually going to say. Cause, I'm the match angler I'm one
well, in
about.
fact, someone told me a float angler from years ago that he got into the England club last night. Oh, one of your tench anglers said that he learnt to clip up a float in. Do you know where they done the? There was a rowing bit.
Home Pier Point.
Right. So and he learnt to because there was nothing to judge it by. Who couldn't.
Yeah.
So he clipped up and done 3 winds back. Bait the same spot. He's putting the float in the same spot by clipping up.
Sounds to me like Nigel Bray, probably.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't
that.
Nigel.
Oh, what? They said it to me.
Yeah.
It might have been. Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah, funny enough, the guy who owned one of my local tackle shops, not there anymore, but again, that's another story, isn't it? And he said the same thing. I'd be saying, oh, it's so many yards or so many wraps. And he goes, I'll just do it turns on my reel
I
handle.
can't do the wraps bit. I can't.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for
So
like a
many
decade
years.
before it, yeah.
Right then, so last couple of questions then. Can you tell us about probably the funniest or one of your most humorous experiences while you've either been fishing or in the tackle box?
Yeah, Kevin, well, people always said we should write a book. But as we're getting older, the memory goes. Things like, I mean, you've all done that, when the PVA string used to come out. When PVA string was first it came out, it was all like very thick stuff, but then Christen come out with that braided stuff, didn't it? Looked like braid, so we tied rigs for people. And like, go and try that rig. So we got up to some naughty stuff in the shop. We had one customer always actually had a rucksack. His nickname was Snackpot, and Lee put 2 tins. We had a corner shop next door. He got 2 big tins of dog food. While he was in the shop, he's put them in the front pocket of his rucksack. I think it took him 3 months to find it, so he's been carrying his 2. But it's just weird.
Yeah.
What else has happened? Swapping over spools. I mean, it's wrong, isn't it? But we're swapping over spools.
Depends who it is.
So if someone's got a bite and he strikes it, right, but the spool for it's on the other rod. You can't put that in, can you?
Possibly.
Yeah, just the strange things. Someone's come in the shop. He's caught a £30 carp from down at Big Lake, and he said, "I'm real chuffed over there. I see he's come across the. Oh, wonderful!" He said, "I had to photograph it. We didn't have camera phones them days.
Yeah.
He developed it. Someone has a picture of this. The carp. His hook was in the swivel of someone else's rig.
Right. Work that one out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a weird one. So not so much funny things. I've got another. So he photographed it, but he said, "I'm not counting it."
Yeah.
He said, but it's like just an anomaly, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
What's the chances of you doing that?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Yeah. Oh, the air ambulance. It's somebody that's in need or more bigger need than we are.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for the pike anglers amongst you, there's a strange one. My friend Mark, I'm fishing with Mark Barnett, and he's had this take. Picked it up, playing it in, all the way, lovely. And I've landed it, put it in the net, and I've turned around to Mark to high-five him, because he's the first 20 of the year,
Yeah.
and he's just doing that. He's holding his rod. What's up with him? He said, "The braid's going out of the net."
Right.
What's happening? honestly, it took us a long time to work out what happened. So what happened was, the situation, I don't know what happened, the situation was, there was a 14 pounder still out the net that he'd hooked.
Right.
Right, so you had the 14 pounder, which we eventually got. The 23 pounder was lassoed with the braid.
Okay.
This is the strange bit. The running lead was behind the 23.
Okay.
Think about it. 14 pounder on the trebles, a 20 there, but the running lead is above the 20. So the 14 pounder must have picked up the bait to give that space. I don't know.
Strange one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only when you're fishing, anyway.
Yeah. Mind, give you a bit more time, I could have brought a book on all the strange.
I'm
and
sure
funny
you
things.
could. I'm sure you could. Okay, final questions, or final question. Have you any other interests outside of angling?
My son,
Yeah?
very interested what he's getting up to. But my wife Jackie, she gives me all the information what's happening, because that's her.
Yeah.
Always knowing, the ladies are always interested in what's going on. Yeah, making things, whether it be for fishing. I'm just good with my hands. I'd something to make for the house. I've got a boat I go pike fishing with, so I make things with that.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing that in my pastime. Cooking bait,
Yeah?
preparing for fishing.
Yeah. So,
'Cause I'm not actually fishing, am I? So it's outside fishing.
yeah, you could probably say it's pretty much one of these, it's an all-consuming passion then.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. But, well, I think, thank you very much, Gary.
Right, mate.
That concludes, like you say, your interrogation. Oh, sorry, your Let's Talk. It's been most enjoyable, mate. Thank you very much.
Okay, mate. Cheers.
Okay.